We begin your news at 6 with breaking news. Nearly 24 Columbia firefighters on the scene of a fire. You can see here in this video some pretty extensive damage there to this home, and there is a wooded area there that is dealing with a lot of issues as well. Crews say several homes are being impacted by this fire, but they do say that right now the fire seems to be under control. Crews responded to this scene within the past couple of hours. It's on the 100 block of Westwood Drive, which is not far from Gibbs Middle School in Columbia. Our Caroline Hecker is on the scene now. And Caroline, you're still at a very active scene at this point. So what do we know from officials right now about what started this?
Well, Sam, we just got a little bit of an update as to the specific times all of this began to happen. The call came in at about 4:11, the first crews arriving at about 4:17, and at the most there were about 65 people from the Columbia Fire Department here on this scene, and they classify this as a significant, substantial fire. Well, I can show you what they believe at the preliminary part of this investigation to have started it. You look up, that is a high-tension wire. They believe a tree limb fell, snapped that wire, as you can see, which caused essentially a couple of transformers here in the area to blow, which is a lot of the explosion sounds that people were hearing. Then they say that power essentially traveled through the ground, and there was a house, two homes nearby that sustained some fire damage as a result. If we pan over and look at the home that was on fire when crews got here, you can see it's unlivable at this point. We just got new figures from the fire department. In all of this entire fire, they're saying about $100,000 worth of damage, 80,000 of that at the house. There was a neighbor who also had a shed that was on fire, as well as a couple of vehicles. So all in all, $100,000 worth of damage in that home, not livable for the family. There was one person at home when this happened, but they are okay. There were no injuries as a result of this. There were also, I'll quickly add, several brush fires that took place. If you pan around quickly here to the ground, you see all of these black spots. These brush fires are what Columbia Fire Department has been working to put out here most recently, making sure there's no more hot spots, but they will be out here on the scene for the foreseeable future. So if you are in the Westwood Avenue area, it is best to avoid it at this point. The Red Cross also out here, as well as Dominion Energy, working to get that line repaired. Live in Columbia, Caroline Hecker, WIS News 10.
All right, our Caroline Hecker reporting live. You can follow her on Twitter for updates as they happen. Also, Columbia Fire, a very busy day for those firefighters today. The department, along with Columbia Police and the State Law Enforcement Division, all investigating multiple fires that broke out in one area of Shandon early this morning. Within the past 15 minutes, the Columbia Police Department released video. Now, it's not easy to see, but take a close look. They say in this video is a vehicle of interest in connection with the fires. They say it appears that the vehicle might be an older model box style with distinct head and tail lights. Right now, investigators trying to figure out the specific make and model. Our Emily Wakeman on this scene today. She's been talking with investigators. And Emily, those who saw the whole thing happen, it's been quite an ordeal today. Bring us up to speed on what you've learned.
Judy, it really has been a day for residents here. Investigators were out here on Hayward Street for most of the day today, trying to collect evidence for what started these fires. Now, the worst fire happened here behind me, involving two vehicles and the side of a home that were engulfed in flames at about 4 a.m. this morning. Now, luckily, no one was injured in these fires, but it did leave a lot of residents with questions. Now, investigators say there were a total of 4 fires. 3 fires were on Hayward Street, 1 at the home, and the second just 2 doors down in a trash can. The third near South Bonham Street, involving a boat cover. The final fire happened on Cannon Street in the bed of a truck. The victim put those flames out. Now, officials have not determined whether the fires were intentional.
Went outside to find my truck on fire. Ran back inside, got my fire extinguisher. In the hopeless attempt to anything, emptied it, and yeah, that wasn't going to happen.
Now I think everybody in the neighborhood's kind of feeling like, yikes. This could just happen at 4 o'clock in the morning and you wouldn't know it. And
right.
I mean, because it just seems like somebody randomly set several places on fire. So
yeah, I just can't imagine the kind of person that would do something like this.
Said he noticed a small square can in the bed of his truck, something that was not there when he left his truck last night, and he thought this was suspicious. In Columbia, Emily Wakeman, WIS News 10.
All right, Emily, thank you so much. Columbia Fire Department estimates those fires caused Damages nearly $82,000 to those various properties in that neighborhood. We'll certainly keep you updated as we learn more.
All right, let's talk about your forecast. It has been another hot and dry day around the Midlands, but finally seeing some pop-up showers here. Let's get the details now from Chief Meteorologist Dennis Brown.
Hey there, let's talk about it, Sam. Right now on First Alert Radar, we are seeing some of those pop-up showers that we talked about. Only a 20% chance or less, and for those who are seeing showers, you're lucky. A couple little sprinkles and showers over areas in the northwestern part of Orangeburg County. But here goes Calhoun County. Heavier downpour over I-26 right now. We'll zoom in even more, and you'll see a few streets here that we'll highlight as well. And how about Log Cabin Lane and a few more that I can read. How about Family Run Lane as well? Getting a little wet weather, and we need some more showers, and we will get it, at least some of us, as we go through tomorrow, as a cold front pushes into the area. So as we go through tonight, a few isolated showers are possible. Then for tomorrow morning, low clouds and fog. By the afternoon, let's be weather aware and have that First Alert app ready to go. Sometime after 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we'll have scattered showers and some thunderstorms developing. It's on a Friday. You might have some Friday night plans, and so you'll need to know how to dress and how to prepare. 5 o'clock in the afternoon, there will be an opportunity for some wet weather here and there, maybe even for Columbia, Sumter, even areas in Calhoun County, Orangeburg County, as we head towards 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock tomorrow evening, and a couple little showers hanging around until about 8 o'clock tomorrow night. A 40% chance of showers and storms right now. But then we talk about not only the hot weather returning, but some cooler weather too. We'll talk about it with your First Alert 10-day forecast.
All right, Chief, thanks so much. Well, another big story today. The whistleblower report is now out. That complaint led to the impeachment inquiry, which is now underway against President Donald Trump.
And that whistleblower makes two main accusations, that President Trump used his office for personal gain and that the White House took steps to hide details about a pivotal phone call. That report was released moments before the acting director of national intelligence took his oath on Capitol Hill. The complaint focuses on the president's July 25th phone call with then newly elected president of Ukraine. A transcript of that call released yesterday by the White House shows the president asked his foreign counterpart for a favor to investigate Joe Biden and his son. Now, within the past hour, we did receive an audio clip obtained by the LA Times. During a closed-door meeting with American UN diplomats this week, the president in this call refers to the whistleblower as, quote, almost a spy. Take a listen.
But basically, that person never saw the report, never saw the call, meaning never saw the call, heard something, and decided that he or she, whoever the hell it is, sort of like almost a spy. I want to know who's the person that gave the whistleblower, who's the person that gave the whistleblower the information? Because that's close to a spy. You know what we used to do in the old days when we were smart, right? The spies and treason. We used to handle it a little differently than we do now.
One Democratic senator calls the whistleblower report a, quote, explosive, still smoking gun. But Senator Lindsey Graham says the report is secondhand hearsay and that there is an effort inside the government to sink President Trump.
If I were the White House, I'd protect everything in the White House because somebody is out to undo the president. I've never seen a White House that has this many problems with people. The deep state theory I've never really bought into, but there's a lot of people out there that are taking their agenda and running wild with it.
Now Congress and the country wait for the next steps of the House's impeachment inquiry following today's testimony from the acting director of national intelligence.
Well, there has been a lot of new information released and discussed this week.
That is why our Adam Mincer is here to break it all down, what is in the complaint and especially what it means. Adam?
Let's go back to the beginning of all of this, that initial whistleblower complaint. Now, that whistleblower complaint went to the Inspector General's office, and that's where it was reviewed and validated and given a little bit of credit and credence. And then from there, the Office of the Inspector General sent that whistleblower complaint to the head of the Intelligence Committee, the DNI, the acting DNI in this case. Now, this is where it gets a little funky, so stay with me a little bit. We go, in most senses, it is sent from that office to the Senate Intelligence Committee and the House Intelligence Committee. But this time something different happened. Here's what happened. It was sent to the White House because the current acting head of the DNI said that it needs to go to the White House because of executive privilege, that this was involving the president, so therefore the president has some authority over what is publicly released. Then Congress heard about it, and then Congress requested that information because they were told by the Inspector General about the existence of this document and requested that from Congress. But that leads to the question, what happens next?
Congress is going to be chasing down these sorts of facts and going to want to establish a congressional record that, you know, satisfies its own standards for saying this is stuff that we find actionable. To the extent the Inspector General has already done some work in this domain, it may provide a head start or a kind of a map about how to go about it. But it really is, in the first instance, kind of up to Congress at this point as it considers impeachment or other possible responses.
And if, and that's a big if, the president is impeached but not removed from office, can he run for president again? That same expert told me yes, if nothing happens in the Senate, but if he is removed or the Senate votes for him not to run for re-election, then that changes. Of course, we are a long way away from any of that. We'll have much more details on today's development coming right up on your nightly news with Lester Holt. Sam and Judy.
All right, Adam, thank you very much. Well, there are more than 200 school resource officers coming to schools around the state that currently lack that coverage. And that announcement was made today by the state superintendent of education, Molly Spearman. The funding for the new resource officers was approved by the South Carolina General Assembly for this school year. All 81 traditional public school districts and the Erskine Charter Institute, as well as the South Carolina Public Charter School District, will be getting funds to pay for 1 to 4 new officers, but it will all depend on the districts.
7,000. That's the number of people in South Carolina getting treatment for substance use disorder every single day.
As we continue our series on the opioid crisis in South Carolina, we dig into what effective treatment options are available.